Well, today is a big day at TMJ4. With the help of community stakeholders, we are launching a new initiative to address one of the most dangerous problems in Milwaukee, and that's reckless driving.
Yeah, and it's called Project Drive Safer, and you'll see all sorts of stories over the next year focusing on education, enforcement, and engineering of our roads.
Yeah, our Ben Jordan is here with us this morning to kick off the project by explaining what reckless driving is and the consequences for those who are caught. So Ben, you've been pretty busy with this project.
We have. We put a lot of work into this project, especially leading up to this launch day. But as you just mentioned, going to be going on Monday through Friday for the next year. But today we're going to just start with the basics. Wisconsin's reckless driving law is pretty broad. It says no person may endanger the safety of a person or property by the negligent operation of a vehicle. The law doesn't give specific examples of what reckless driving is, to leave that up to law enforcement to decide. There isn't a definitive list of driving behaviors that can result in a reckless driving citations, but instances can be found on Milwaukee's streets every day. Excessive speeding, tailgating, weaving in and out of traffic, street racing, and running red lights all come to mind for Celia Jackson.
Anything that really creates a dangerous situation could be characterized as reckless driving.
Celia is an executive with the Coalition for Safe Driving MKE, a group of community members and organizations whose frustrations with reckless driving have turned into advocacy for safer roads. What do you think is the most dangerous form of reckless driving?
I really think the speeding is the most dangerous thing. At the core of so much of the reckless driving, whether you're looking at the fleeing, whether you're looking at the drag racing, whether you're looking at the speeding over 25 or even lesser amounts, it's all speeding.
Ask Milwaukee Police Captain Jeffrey Sun and you'll get a different answer. What is the worst form of reckless driving in Milwaukee?
I would say definitely the running of red lights. Traffic signals are put at intersections, busy intersections, to serve a purpose. Not only to regulate traffic, but also to keep cross traffic safe. And when individuals are flying through these intersections on red lights at very high speeds, you might hit a family member in another car that has the green light just because you're in a hurry to get somewhere a minute faster. It's not worth it.
A first reckless driving violation in Milwaukee comes with a $313 fine. A repeated offense within 4 years can land the driver in jail for up to a year. Meanwhile, reckless driving causing serious injury or death turns into a felony charge.
It extends to so many other components in society that these other stakeholders are affected. And I think as people talk about it and get educated about it and realize this is not a video game that you're driving, you don't get another chance. If you crash your car and you die, you don't get another life.
Captain Sun says police data shows Milwaukee's reckless driving problem hit its peak at the beginning of the pandemic. Nearly 400 drivers were cited with reckless driving by this time of the year in 2020, about 100 more than the amount issued so far this year.
Fatal accidents were up. We were seeing very bad accidents, very bad reckless driving, individuals just traveling straight through traffic signals, and the community got fed up with it.
Captain Sun says MPD responded by launching the Traffic Safety Unit last year. It's a team of 18 patrol officers dedicated to catching the most egregious reckless drivers. It's resulted in a massive spike in the amount of drivers cited with excessive speeding. And this year, the department started towing unregistered vehicles used in 4 different types of reckless driving incidents, endangering safety by driving recklessly, racing on the highway, fleeing an officer, and speeding 25 over the limit. When it comes to reckless driving, do you think all those 4 categories are in fact reckless driving?
Absolutely. They're all reckless driving, and there are many more incidents that you could describe as reckless driving. The passing on the right in the bike lane, in the curb lane. For all practical purposes, operating under the influence is reckless driving. You're weaving on the road.
So an open records request through the Department of Transportation shows more than 2,300 people were convicted with reckless driving last year statewide. That's the highest amount recorded since 2004. So that either means the problem is getting worse or police and state patrolmen are catching more people.
And we know, of course, there are many more that are not caught.
Right.
So that's just a
Absolutely.
slice of the issue, a slice of the problem, which is a real problem here in this city.
And what I thought was interesting is you spoke with a woman who thought, speeding may be, the big issue, right? But then you heard the captain say, well, people are running red lights. And since I've been in Milwaukee, I've seen that a couple of times. So I'm like, that's so true when you think about just reckless driving in general.
Right. And people have actually told me, and this is something that you've probably heard and you've heard as well, that when you come up to a light, you're to wait a couple seconds after it turns green, because in the city, if you take off right when that light turns green, there's a chance
and look
you
in
can
all
get
the
hit.
directions too, right?
I live just north of Silver Spring, and I wait at that light coming into my neighborhood or coming out of it for at least 4 or 5 seconds, because so many times I've seen it where someone just plows through, going above the speed limit, running a red light, and it's incredibly dangerous, especially if you have kids in the car, family members. The last thing you want to do is get into an accident. So we're putting a lot of resources into this project in the hopes that we can make Milwaukee's roads safer, whether it's, looking at re-engineering of roads. I know that's already started here in Milwaukee, but where does that need to be going next in terms of education and getting this message out from MPS students, kids across our area, to adults, because adults are absolutely behind this issue as well. And then the accountability factor, what's going on with citations and what's happening in the courtroom afterward.
Lots to dive into here.
Oh yeah, and it's such an important topic, and we appreciate the work that you're doing.
You bet.
All right, and our goal with this new year-long initiative is to get safer drivers out on Milwaukee roads, but we do need your help. So if you or someone you know has been impacted by reckless driving, we want to hear from you. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen right now. It will take you to projectdrivesafer.com. There you can send us your ideas, stories, and potential solutions. You can also catch more Project Drive Safer stories coming up throughout the day right here on TMJ4 News.